Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of making your first quilt. Today we are going to hand tie this quilt. I have some embroidery floss and some needles. I have my backing laid out on the bottom and I have it ironed because it was super wrinkly. And I have my batting laid out in the middle. I picked out a low loft batting, but I doubled it up. You need to tie this at least once every 6 to 8 inches. Mine actually ends up being 4.5 inches from tie to tie because I'm tying in the middle of each one of these squares and once out into the border. I'm keeping everything in line. My square is 4.5 inches finished, so I'm doing 2.25 for the center of the square. Every time I'm measuring with my ruler to make sure it's exactly in the center. That way everything's lined up and it looks pretty. I am actually tying on the back instead of on the front because I want a cute little X in the center of each one of the squares. If your points are not exactly perfect on your quilt, it actually wouldn't be a bad idea to put your knot right over top with the knot on the top side instead of the back and use a little bit thicker, maybe like a yarn, because it'll cover up those imperfections. Since each one of my points are pretty good, I just went ahead and put the tie in the center. And I do have probably 2/3 of it done, a little bit less than 2/3. But let me show you how I've been working this. So we're going to pull out about 3 arms lengths. 1, 2, 3. It's pretty important to keep everything smoothed out the whole time. I've been taking my ruler and setting it on 2.25, which will be this line and this line. And then we'll pull this through. I can't tell you how many times I've pulled it all the way through without paying attention. Then we're going to go back down in about 1/4 inch away from that. Keep pulling all the way through. Make sure everything's still laying flat. And then we're going to come up about 1/8 of an inch from that one. Pull all of that through and then back down on the other side. So that's how I'm getting my little X, and literally just repeat that at least 81 times because that's how many squares we have. And then we go on to the next one. I'm not making it completely perfect, just close enough. And then about 1/4 inch away. Same thing over and over. So we'll grab our surgical scissors. This is where they come in handy. We'll go through and cut each one of these. I'll pull it tight just a little bit, and then I'll do 3 overhand knots, which is kind of hard to do with how short this is, but it works. And then I trim it off to about 1 inch. Another knot option is something called the surgeon's knot. You do over, over, tie, over, over, tie. I am going to continue tying these last 2 rows and 2 squares. Actually, probably it's going to be a little bit easier if I come in from the other side to do those last 2 rows. All right, so this is completely tied. And since I do have excess on either side, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the batting and the backing. And I'm going to rough cut it with a pair of scissors. That way I don't have to wrestle with as much stuff here. Just coming over about 4 inches. Just going to lay it out on one side. Make sure it doesn't fall off though. Line up right along the edge of our black fabric. We're going to cut all the excess That doesn't have to be square off of the edge. I'm gonna go ahead and cut all 4 sides the same way, and then we're ready for binding. There's what the front of the quilt looks like with the little X's, and the back with the ties. There are a couple puckers here and there, but it's going, after you wash it and the fabric shrinks just a little bit, it's going to be even fluffier, so I'm not really that worried about it. So in the next video, I'm going to show how I put the binding on, then the quilt will be done. Yeah, I'd say it probably took me 2, maybe 3 hours to tie this all together. We've had a lot of interruptions today, so we have probably an hour left in the binding. And so that'd be total from start to finish between 8 to 10 hours for this throw size quilt. Can't wait to see you guys next video, and I'll talk to you later.